All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for your patience there while we waited for a few other people to jump on the webinar with us. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to meet with us this afternoon. Again, my name is Brandon Doyle, and I am the marketing manager here at Blue Corona. And today we're going to talk about Google Local Services ads, really what they are, why they're beneficial, and how you can get started. But first, before we jump into the webinar, you might be wondering, what the heck is Blue Corona and why are we here covering one of the many hot topics in the HVAC digital marketing industry? And for those of you not familiar with us, Blue Corona is a full-service digital marketing agency and a proud sponsor of the Air Conditioning Contractors of America. And put it simply, we help companies accomplish really three critical things when it comes to their marketing. We help our clients increase leads and sales, optimize their marketing costs, and last but not least, differentiate their brand online. Founded in 2008, Blue Corona is an Inc. 500 and Inc. 5000 company, and we really specialize in digital marketing for home service companies. And some of our greatest client success stories really start with local heating and air conditioning contractors like those of you in attendance today. And in fact, some of you guys might even be our clients, and if you are, we appreciate you taking the time out to join me today. And if you're not, that's okay too. It's applicable for everyone. And of course, if you're not a Blue Corona client, again, we appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to join us to learn more about local services ads. Now, before we jump into the nitty-gritty, I want to get a few administrative pieces out of the way. So if at any point throughout the webinar you have a question, go ahead and tap the little triangle or the little down arrow next to the questions, the word questions in your GoToWebinar panel there, and type in your questions at any time throughout the webinar. Of course, we'll do our best at the end to get to and answer as many questions as possible. And if we don't get to your specific question, you can see my email here up on the screen, Brandon@Blue Corona. Feel free to shoot me an email or follow up with us, ask us your question through one of our contact forms on our website, and we'll be happy to get you an answer. So with that, let's get to it. So throughout the duration of today's webinar, we're going to cover several topics. But first and foremost, we're going to take a step back and cover at a high level the evolution of paid advertising on Google, more specifically, what it looked like when it started and really up into today, what has happened with paid advertising to get a sense for local services ads in terms of what used to be the norm and what is the norm today. Secondly, we'll answer that burning question you may have of what are local services ads, and we're going to take a deep dive into the platform. We're going to also spend some time talking about the benefits and, more importantly, why does it matter to you as a business owner or maybe a marketing manager yourself, or maybe just someone who helps oversee and run the marketing department internally over at your office. We'll spend some time talking through the benefits and why it matters, and then maybe even more importantly, some results that our clients are seeing from the platform. You know, what does that look like to provide additional context into not only the platform itself, but the other benefits that it provides. And then lastly, we're going to wrap up the day with how you can actually apply for Google's local services ads and what that application process looks like. And we'll take a deep dive into that application process as well. So with that, we're going to go ahead and jump right into the evolution of paid advertising. And when I say the evolution of paid ads, I'm talking really, we're talking about Google Ads or Google AdWords, what it was formerly known as. But first, what I want you to do is put your imaginary caps on, and we're going to jump in our DeLorean, but we're not going to go all the way back to the 1980s. We're going to go back to 1999, where paid ads on Google first really began to take shape live on the search results pages. And way back in 1999, search results probably looked something like this. Now, for those of you who remember what Google looked like, maybe this screenshot here on the page looks a little familiar to you. Google hasn't looked like this in a very long time, but this is what it used to look like. And way back in 1999, that was really when Google first began testing paid advertisements on search results. And around this time, Google was still in its infancy, particularly compared to what it is today, and the mammoth it's really grown into, and the dominant factor when it comes to digital marketing. So as you can tell, it looks dramatically different. And after some initial tests, Google launched its first version of paid advertising, or what is the Google AdWords platform, in October of 2000. And they look something like this. You can see here in that orange box, we saw about anywhere from 1 to 2 paid advertisements, and these are traditional pay-per-click advertising way back in the year 2000. And we see 1 to 2 spots living above the organic search results there. And then really we saw it expand into some sidebar ads as well. Now, way back in the early days of pay-per-click advertising, AdWords was primarily used by large companies and enterprises in the beginning, and then it quickly opened up to small businesses. And again, it looks something like what you're seeing on the screen here, with multiple ads, maybe 3 to 5, maybe even 7 ads sometimes in the right sidebar area, with our 1 to 2 main ads occupying the top real estate on the screen. And from there, Google really tested and tweaked its own platform and continued to evolve the AdWords platform throughout the years. But we're going to jump way ahead now into 2015 to show you what it looked like. So this might look a little bit more familiar to y'all in attendance today, but some of the important things still stuck with Google throughout the years, and that was the sidebar paid advertisements, or those pay-per-click ads. And then we also see that instead of having 1 or 2 ads up on top, we really expanded into anywhere from 3 to potentially even 4 paid advertisements, all run, again, traditional pay-per-click advertising through the platform formerly known as Google AdWords, or Google Ads as it is today. And of course, those ads are at the top of your screen. Those top 3 ads were living above, and still do live above, the organic listings like you see in blue there. So we start to see and continue to see Google prioritizing paid advertising. That's how Google makes their money. They see paid advertising for really top tier placement on their search results pages, again, ahead of those organic listings. Now we're still in 2015 now, but now Google AdWords updated their platform again, and they said, hey guys, you know what? We're removing the sidebar pay-per-click ads. We're no longer going to be visible there. But yet we still see the 3 to 4 ads at the top of the screen. Given that it's 2015, we start to see the local pack of listings also coming into play here, or the maps listings as some refer to. But really, Google started consolidating and eliminating the number of positions you could trigger for when someone searches for things like furnace repair or heating contractor near me on the screen. And looking at today, this probably looks a little bit more familiar to everyone here. And nowadays, pay-per-click ads and Google search results pages look like this. They have 4 highly competitive, 3 to 4 highly competitive, and sometimes very, very pricey paid advertising spots right at the top of their search results still. And depending on your market and the services that you offer, pay-per-click ads might also be located at the bottom, which is what you'll see here in a second. But the key factor here is that pay-per-click ads still occupy the top of the search results, followed by our local pack listings, which then continue down the page. And then we start to get into the organic listings. Now keep in mind, the local pack listings or the maps listings are also organic rankings that you can occupy, which is why they're all in blue. And we see those top 10 search positions really laid out on the screen before we really get to the bottom, which again is those 3, sometimes anywhere from 1 to 3 paid advertisements located at the bottom of the search results. And that was really the industry standard from 2015 up until 2018. And throughout 2018, Google started rolling out their new platform, Local Services, or Local Services Ads, Google Local Services. So looking at that Google Local Services Ads platform, we can tell that search results look very different than what they used to, even at various points in last year in 2018 and dating back to 2017 and 16 and so on. So you'll probably notice that there's a new feature here on the search results page, and that is this right here. Right at the top, those three options, starting with ARS, Rescue Router, and those are ads populated through the local services ads platform. And there's a couple key things that separate Google Local Services ads from traditional pay-per-click advertising or Google ads. And those are, number one, it's entirely separate platform, and it's owned and operated by Google. Local Services ads is its own platform, owned and operated by Google, and it's a pay-per-lead platform. Now that varies dramatically from the traditional Google ad setup or pay-per-click setup, where you're paying money to drive traffic to your website, with the hopes that that visitor would then convert into a call or possibly a web form submission and turn into a booked job. Whereas local services ads are a pay-per-lead platform. And they're located right at the very top there, as you can see. And if you're unfamiliar with pay-per-lead platforms or Google Local Services ads, the key differentiator is you're only paying Google when you get a verified lead sent to you. You're not paying by click, or if someone interacts with your ad, you're not paying for them to interact with it like you are in traditional pay-per-click advertising. And lastly, again, the platform is separate from Google Ads or Google AdWords. And we quickly see that within that platform, instead of bidding on keywords like you do in Google Ads, you're actually bidding on services. So you can see here in this screenshot a list or a preview of the types of HVAC services that companies out there can advertise for, everything from air conditioning maintenance to duct cleaning and repairs, general installs, and so on. But again, to further differentiate itself, you're actually paying on bidding on services, not on keywords. So for example, your ads through Google Local Services may trigger when someone in a zip code searches for furnace repair near me. Now, just like the services here that you can see on your screen, Local Services ads also allow you to select certain zip codes that you do and do not want to advertise in. So for example, furnace repair near me, if I'm located here in Charlotte, North Carolina, in the 28205 zip code, I'm going to see search results through Local Services ads from other contractors who want to advertise in my specific zip code for my specific service. Whereas through Google Ads, your ad may not trigger for various reasons. You know, some of those reasons could be everything from you're simply not bidding high enough in order to trigger your ad, or maybe your competitors are bidding higher. Maybe your quality score of your ads is too low, and that's preventing you from getting high page one search visibility or high visibility in those pay-per-click ads. And there's a whole lot of factors that go into Google's ranking algorithm for Google Ads. But again, unlike Google Ads, Local Services is where you're really selecting from a list of services and zip codes that you want to advertise for those in order to not be competing with so many other competitors through Google Ads. And finally, and perhaps maybe one of the key differentiators between Local Services ads and traditional pay-per-click ads is that through Local Services ads, users never actually visit your website. They stay entirely on Google's own platform. And that looks like something that like you might see here. Someone clicks on the option of Sky HVAC, maybe the high review rating of 4.9 and 132 reviews really piqued their interest. So they click on that ad. And they get brought to a screen like this. And this is really where the interaction with these ads come from. You can see here that Sky HVAC has filled out a company overview with a list of services they offer, a little bit about their business, you know, how long they've been in business, they're family owned and operated. But from here, the user has the ability to do one thing really, and that is if they're on a desktop search, they can pick up the phone and call, as you can see the phone number here for Sky HVAC. Or if they're on their mobile device, they can simply click the button to call. There's no web form submissions through local services ads. People never visit your website, and you're only interacting with them, or they're only interacting with your ad through the platform and directly on Google search results. Now, again, another really cool feature of local services ads is the Google guarantee. Now, some of you may have heard of this, some of you may not have, but unlike Google Ads, local services offers a unique value proposition to heating and air conditioning companies investing in the platform through the form of a Google guarantee. And what that essentially means is that Google itself has vetted and verified your company as a trusted partner of theirs and grants you the Google Guarantee badge. And that happens through a variety of different ways, and we'll get into those in a little bit more detail coming up. But through things like verifying your business licenses are not only, and that your insurance policies are up to date and still active, and they also like to background check all technicians that are going into customers' homes. Again, we'll touch on that here coming up shortly. But the Google Guarantee really acts as a vote of confidence with users. And now once your company receives that Google Guarantee, you're approved for local services ads. Another cool feature is that your company is then automatically added to Google Home and Google Smart Device voice search results. I'm going to say that again. You're automatically added to Google Home and Google Smart Device voice search. And essentially what that means is when somebody has a Google Home in their kitchen, let's say, and they need the help of a local HVAC contractor, and they say, hey, Google, find me a heating repair company near me. Your company or companies that have the Google Guarantee and are pre-approved by Google will be the first companies chosen when Google provides that answer to the homeowner, the answer to their search query. And that's one of the other main primary benefits and really a key differentiator between traditional pay-per-click advertising as well. And lastly, maybe perhaps what you all care about most is the fact that through Google Local Services, you can actually dispute with Google the leads that you receive. And that's really cool too, because once your company receives a lead, you have to make sure that it's within your service area, and you have to make sure it's for a service you offer. Otherwise, it's not really a lead for you. It might be an inquiry, but it's not a lead. And through the lead dispute process, you're actually can get your money back. So if you paid $40 for a lead and it was outside a zip code that you predefined, you can notify Google and get that $40 back. And over time, that can start to add up and help save you money as well. Like I mentioned before, in order to get that Google Guarantee, all technicians must pass a background check. And not only that, again, Google has to verify your business license and insurance policies to make sure everything is up to date as well. But once that's approved, you can really start running your ads. And after that, it's kind of autopilot from there. There is management that goes into it. You should be actively listening to your own phone calls that are generated through the Google Local Services Ads platform in order to make sure that you are keeping the cost of Google Local Services as efficient as possible for you, and also that the leads that you are getting charged for are actually leads that you can service. So again, looking at the benefits of Google Local Services Ads. So it's a really cool platform where you're able to get prime real estate on Google. So we can see the example here on desktop search. Again, Google Local Services Ads are found right at the top of search, particularly on desktop search as well. And you can see there's 3 ads running horizontally along the page, all within the platform. Now, the reason this is most important is because, how many of you in attendance, if you had to guess, what percentage of people click through from Google on page 1 to page 2 of search results? Now, the number is probably shockingly low, even compared to what you might have guessed. And that number is actually 10%. Only 10% of all people actually click on the page 2 of Google, which means that 90% of all searchers are not. And what that means for you is if you're not found on page 1 of Google, you're going to have a really difficult time generating leads from your digital marketing campaigns, not just local services ads, but pay-per-click and organic as well, which is really where one of the main benefits of local services ads comes into play here. If you've never invested in SEO before, or maybe pay-per-click is just a little too pricey for you, Google Local Services ads are a phenomenal way to immediately place yourself on page one of Google in the short term, in the here and now, to help you get some more calls and get those phones ringing, more web forms coming into your email inbox, therefore more leads and more sales for you. And again, this holds true and rings true on mobile devices as well. You can see here in this screenshot, now we're looking at a plumber screenshot here, but the principle remains the same, and that is that Google Local Services ads also occupy the most sought after real estate on mobile devices. You can see here in this screenshot that local services ads, which will on a mobile device trigger anywhere between 2 to 3 listings in general, depending on your market. And they occupy essentially your entire screen of your iPhone or of your Samsung Galaxy. It's occupying everything above the fold or before someone has to scroll down. Now, does anyone here know what percentage of their website's website's traffic comes from mobile devices? Because what we see here at Blue Corona across our heating and air conditioning companies is, on average, some are higher, some are lower, is an average around 30% of all website traffic coming from a smartphone or some other mobile device. And the tricky part of mobile is that users are preconditioned to almost immediately start scrolling, right? When you think about it, you're sitting on your couch, regardless if you're looking at heating and air conditioning companies, Nike shoes, or maybe you're looking to buy your spouse a nice Valentine's gift because you're late to the ball. Friendly reminder for everyone. And we're trained to just start swiping, right? We start scrolling up and down multiple times. You know, where local services ads really comes into play on mobile devices is capturing the user's attention in what I refer to as a micro moment. Those are those moments where they need you most. Are you going to be found right then and there? And on a mobile device or on a smartphone, that becomes even more critical when we think about users' attention spans being less than 3 seconds to capture their attention. Are you going to be found, and are you going to be visible across any device, across any platform that they look at? And local services ads is a great way to get in front of your customers when they need you most. And in addition to the short attention span of searchers, it's estimated that by 2020, just a year from now, 50% or more of all searches will be voice searches, and that's across all search engines. Think about that. More than half of all the searches performed globally will be voice searches, according to a recent study released by ComScore. And not only that, it's also estimated that 55% of all American households will own some sort of smart speaker, Google Home, or maybe an Amazon Alexa by the year 2020, which might seem off in the distance now, but it's not so far off in the distance when you really start to think about how quickly our day-to-day run and how quickly the digital marketing industry changes and evolves over time. And again, what this means for you is that if you're optimizing your website not only for voice search, but then complementing that optimization with local services ads, again, you're automatically added to Google Home and Google Smart to Voice voice search index, allowing you to be pulled as a search result ahead of your competitors who are not investing in the program. And in the world of digital, homeowners really rely on a few key things to really make their buying decisions. And one of those main things is online reviews. Now, online reviews serve as an authority builder or trust builder for consumers like myself or you at your office looking to make a buying decision. And one of these other authority builders, again, is that Google Guarantee badge. The Google Guarantee helps build trust and boost confidence with consumers. It's similar to the birds of a feather flock together approach. For those of you unfamiliar with that saying, simply put, When homeowners see that their peers or other homeowners living in the same location as them, same city, same zip code, potentially in the same neighborhood, have worked with a Google guaranteed HVAC contractor, they then have the confidence to make an educated buying decision that you're the right company for them to reach out to. You're the right company to call because on average, you have a 4.9 star rating or a 5.0 rating and 200 reviews, and you're Google guaranteed. The Google guaranteed is like the cherry on top that says, yes, everyone recognizes Google, and to have their backing is a huge boost of confidence and trust builder with consumers who may not have a dedicated HVAC contractor that they work with, either for their tune-ups, their seasonal tune-ups, or even just one-off repair requests or installs every few years. And lastly, again, you can dispute the leads and get your money back. Now, this means that you need to, again, have someone actively listening to and disputing those leads with Google. Otherwise, those leads that come in outside your service area or outside your predetermined services, like repairs and installs, otherwise you're still going to be charged for those. So you need to have someone actively listening and taking the appropriate steps to dispute those leads with Google, and you will get your money back. And here at Blue Corona, that's actually something we offer to all of our clients. We actually listen and dispute leads on behalf of clients that come in from outside those service areas or outside the list of services that they're advertising for, allowing them to get back to really what matters most to them, and that's and you as well. And that's running the day-to-day. That's running your business. You don't need to take time out of your day to listen to the 10 calls that came in from local services ads and then notify Google and take those steps. We understand you have more important things to do. So your marketing vendor could be another potential option to alleviate some of that pain and tasks of going through and listening to calls and disputing them with Google, again, in order to get your money back. So you're probably wondering, okay, Brandon, what do the results look like? We have a few great examples for you. So as part of that, first, I want to take a step back and give you some industry averages that we're seeing through the Google Local Services Ads platform. And at Blue Corona, our clients typically see, depending on their investment levels, how much they're willing to spend on local services ads in a month. Some of them have very small budgets. Some of them have very large budgets. But on average, we see anywhere from 20 to 120, again, verified leads. We know they're verified because we listen to them. 20 to 120 verified leads per month, and that the average cost per lead is right around $18 to $40. So I'll call it $30. We'll meet in the middle. A $30 cost per lead is incredibly low when it comes to paid advertising on Google. And even in some very competitive markets, you yourself might be seeing your own pay-per-click ads costing $18 to potentially $40 or even higher per click. And that's not to guarantee that someone picks up the phone and calls you. So when you start thinking about it that way, let's say, for example, your average website, your website conversion rate is 20%. 20% of all people visit your website are going to contact you either via phone call or a web form. And if you're paying $30 per click to send those people there, you're going to have to spend $150 just to get one of those people to contact you. And there's no way to verify whether those people are actually a qualified lead. Maybe they have the wrong company, or again, maybe they're slightly outside your service area. And that could get pretty pricey, especially in places where there's very competitive markets, very saturated markets, a lot of home service companies or a lot of HVAC contractors in particular, and as well as in places that see high degrees of variability and seasonality. Places like, for example, Chicago, Phoenix, Washington, D.C., the Central Florida area, where search demand for heating and cooling services is crazy high in the peak winter and summer seasons. And results in pay-per-click advertising being very expensive, local services ads are a very affordable alternative to those. So I want to show you a couple specific examples from a couple clients that we work with here at Blue Corona. And those clients are Jack Lair Heating, Cooling, and Electric, who is an HVAC and electrical contractor located in Pennsylvania. And then Mountain Air Conditioning and Heating, a heating and air conditioning company located in Ogden, Utah. So we're looking at two different companies that are in very different parts of the country, to get some data here. And in the case of Jack Lair, the company has generated some fantastic results. And over the course of Google Local Services ads, the short time we've been running them, Jack Lair has generated almost $50,000 in revenue from just under $6,000 worth of ad spend on local services. And this is local services only. This doesn't include SEO. This doesn't include pay-per-click or any other digital advertising channel that you're investing in, which gives us our return on investment of 8.5 to 1, almost 9 to 1, which is a fantastic ROI for any advertising channel, really, particularly through local services ads. And in the case of Mountain Air Conditioning and Heating out in Ogden, Utah, they've actually seen some even better results. And in the short time they've been running local services ads, Mountain Air Conditioning and Heating has generated almost $60,000 of revenue, $59,498 to be exact, off of less than $2,500 worth of ad spend, giving them an ROI of 24 to 1, which is incredibly high and even much higher than Jack Lair sees over in Pennsylvania. Now, if I said to you, give me $1 and I'll give you $8.50 back, would you do it? Or asked another way, if I said, give me $1 and I'll give you $24 back tomorrow, I bet every single person on today's webinar would take that deal. And it really goes to show how cost effective and how targeted the advertising of local services ads is, and how great the platform is in connecting you directly with customers who are ready to book a call with you right then and there. So lastly, we know about the benefits now. We know about its prime real estate. We know about the evolution of paid advertising on Google, and we know that it's generating great results for companies like you who are currently investing in local services ads. So the next step is, okay, I'm interested in applying. So how do I do that, Brandon? And it really is a pretty long process. But the first step is to sign up for local services ads. Now, there's an actual web form through Google that either your marketing provider should be able to assist you with, or if you need that sign-up link, feel free to reach out to me and we can provide it for you. Or like here at Blue Corona, again, we help facilitate that process with our clients. But first, you got to sign up. You got to contact Google and let them know you're interested through a very specific local services ads web form. And then as part of that, Google is going to do one thing. They're going to make sure that you are eligible for local services. And essentially what that boils down to is that local services is live in your market. You know, when local services first came on the scene a couple years ago, Google, like most of its new initiatives, started with a small test in Southern California and started gradually expanding into the rest of California, and it made its way across the country to the East Coast, and has been rolling out to various metropolitan areas ever since. So in most metropolitan areas or the suburbs, local services ads are available. And one of the easiest ways to see if it is available is to simply do a Google search for one of the services that you have. And pick one of your more popular searches, something like furnace repair, air conditioning installation, heating and air conditioning, something along those lines. And that'll give you a good sense. If you see those local services ads on your own search result, chances are it's live in your market. But if not, Google will let you know about that through that web form. They're going to verify that eligibility there. And that process really takes about 1 to 2 business days from the time you complete that form to when you hear back from Google and they say, yes, it's available, or no, it's not. We'll put you on a waiting list. But assuming it is available, again, it takes 1 to 2 business days to hear back. The next step from there, once they say yes, is that you need to go in and set up your profile and create ads. And depending on your schedule, or if you're working with a marketing provider, on average, this takes about 3 days to set up. and that's not you're sitting at your desk all day, every day doing that. That's assuming that you are going to be probably busy doing some other things, like, again, running your business or jumping in where you're needed. And what's included in that is filling out all the background information that Google needs about your company in order to advertise on the platform. So everything from your company name and a short bio about your company to the services you want to advertise for and the areas you want to advertise them in, as well as various competitive differentiators that Google offers. Now, again, kind of like or unlike Google pay-per-click ads, through local services ads, there's a predetermined set of differentiators that Google provides that you're able to select yes or no on in order to leverage within your profile. And the next step is going to be getting verified and background checked. And really steps 3 and 4, creating your profile, creating your ads, and then getting verified and background checked, those can run in parallel. However, step 4, the verification process, the background check process, really is very extensive, very detailed, and takes quite a while, particularly compared to other advertising channels to get set up on. And when looking at those, Google's going to ask you for a few things. They're going to ask you, again, for copies of your business licenses. They're going to ask for copies of your general liability insurance and other forms of insurance that you have to then provide them. And perhaps the longest part of that process is the background checks themselves. Now, Google actually works with a background check company called Pinkerton, if anyone's familiar with Pinkerton. But they also give you the option to submit previously run background checks that maybe you ran throughout the hiring process yourself. You're a drug-free company. You want to make sure that all your techs pass a background check and you don't hire any felons. You can then submit those background checks to Google. And in some cases, it's very rare, about 1 out of every 20 that we see, Google will accept those background checks, maybe done by company A or company B, to fill the void that Pinkerton would fill. However, most times Google does require you to go through another background check process through Pinkerton. And there you're kind of at the mercy of Pinkerton and Google from finding out which techs have been approved and which have not. So we like to say that process, it generally takes anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks. Now that seems like a very long time. And the reason being, again, any company applying for local services ads is really dependent on and at Google's mercy in terms of turnaround time, getting answers from them. But also, it takes a long time to put in the legwork on your side of things to coordinate all the information with your technicians, receive all the information from them, send it off to Google. Pinkerton runs the background checks, then you get your answer. And one of the key things to note here is that every technician needs to pass a background check. Even if you have 5 technicians and 1 fails, you don't get your Google guarantee and you don't get approved for local services ads. Likewise, if you have 100 technicians and only 1 fails, again, you still don't get that Google guarantee and you get put on a waiting list to start that application process over again. And anyone in your company that is going into the customer's home has to be background checked. So no, your office staff does not have to be background checked, but you as the business owner, you definitely have to be background checked in addition to all of your technicians. And again, just because of the process that is involved with that and back and forth with Google, it can take 2 to 6 weeks. And if a background check, another caveat of those background checks is that all background checks have to be submitted within a 90-day submission period. Let's say as a business owner, you submit yours today, February 13th, and 90 days from now or 91 days from now, you submit your last technician, you're going to have to restart that background check process over again and that timeline resets. So it's very important to get your ducks in a row and really make sure that you have all the information you need before you start submitting the very first background check in order to not get put back on the waiting list and have to reapply for Google Ads. But since you're all members of the Air Conditioning Contractors of America, we know you guys are reputable companies and should have no problem getting Google approved. In which case, you've already set up your ads in your local services profile. Everyone's been background checked, and you're ready to launch. And that process, again, from start to finish, really takes anywhere from about 3 to 7 weeks. We see on average here at Blue Corona, 4 weeks maybe on the shorter side, 6+ weeks on the longer side, assuming everything else is running smoothly in the background for those background checks and whatnot. Which brings us to the conclusion of today's webinar. Again, I want to thank everybody for taking the time out of their day to join us, and hopefully you have some takeaways here about Google Local Services ads. But before I let you go, I do want to take some time to answer any questions that may have trickled in throughout the webinar. And if you didn't submit any, but you have some questions now would be the appropriate time to start sending those in. All right, we have a couple questions trickling in, so I'm just going to run from the top down. First question here is, First question is, do I need to generate my own reviews inside the local services ads platform? Good question. No, you do not. The Google reviews that show within the local services ads platform are the same Google reviews that you generate on Google My Business. So if you already have a review process in place, maybe you're working with a review platform like Podium or Home Service Chats or one of the many that are out there, or you just have someone dedicated in the office to soliciting those reviews from your satisfied customers, if they're going to Google My Business, then they are going to be ending up on your local services ads as well. We have another question. What happens to Google AdWords? Is it now irrelevant? No, that's another great question. So I'll answer that in 2 parts. Number one, we have seen clients where they're located in markets where local services ads are live. We've seen a slight, not decrease in pay-per-click performance, but just less volume because users are searching and clicking on the ads that are right there on the top of the screen. So we still see really great results, low cost per leads, relatively speaking, on the pay-per-click side of things, and it's very much still relevant given the prominence of pay-per-click advertisements even under those local services ads, that I would still encourage you to run both of those and not just try to run one or the other. They should really be complementary to each other. We have another question. We have a separate new construction department. Do I need to have those techs background checked? Honestly, I'm not 100% clear on those, but whoever asked that question, feel free to shoot me an email, Brandon@Blue Corona. That's BRANDON @Blue Corona, blue like the color, Corona like the beer, and I'll work to get those answers for you. Apologize. Do you have to submit a background check to Google every time another employee is hired? Yes, you do. If that employee is going to be going into technicians' homes, that person has to go through the same background check process that everyone else went through. Now, you don't have to resend all 100 technicians through the background process. It's only that new hire. But yes, if they are going to be going into customers' homes, then they do have to be background checked. And Google does spot check that on occasion. They will reach out to various companies or ask for an updated roster, if you will, and they will verify that all your technicians have gone through their background check process. So the answer, yes. What is the typical cost to apply? Good question. So there is not a cost to apply through Google. Really, the cost is your time and effort that takes to go into that. However, a lot of marketing companies may charge a small setup fee. You'd have to talk to your marketing vendor about that. But if you apply through Google, no, there's no application process to apply. I believe there is a small fee associated with some of those background checks. However, simply to apply through Google, no, there is no fee. Will Pinkerton check up on employees that already passed the background check in the future? I don't know the answer to that. That's no insight that we've been given. As a Google Premier partner, we're able to work directly with the Google Local Services support team on that. That hasn't been conveyed to us. However, I could see it being likely the fact that they do spot checks for new employees that they may be checking up on old. But again, as of this point, that's nothing that they've released to us. So at this point, I would say no, but it wouldn't surprise me if that happened in the future. All right, last question that came in here. It says, does this mean I don't have to run pay-per-click ads or SEO anymore? That's a really common question we get. The answer, obviously, that decision is up to you. I would have an overwhelming recommendation of yes. When you think about marketing, digital marketing or any other sort, but digital marketing in particular, local services ads is potentially one of many stops throughout that customer's buyer's journey. Just like SEO might be, and just like a pay-per-click ad might be, there's a lot of opportunities out there on Google search results for someone to click. Depending on their query, they may be getting video results back, or they may get image results back, or potentially Google's question and answers feature on the search result page, or they might get those local services ads. So you shouldn't reduce the amount of channels that you're investing in, rather continually expand as Google continues to expand its features in order to be visible in as many places as possible. Google search results is a popularity competition, and the more places you're found and the more well known, the higher your chances are of someone contacting you and turning into a book job. All right, it doesn't look like any other questions have filtered in here over the last couple minutes. So with that, again, if you have any questions either about the webinar or you're interested in running Google Local Services ads, we've run these for many of our clients, particularly HVAC clients. Go online, head on over to bluecorona.com/contact us. Let them know you attended the webinar and you're interested in Google Local Services ads, and we'll be sure to answer any questions you have or help get you started. And again, if you want to reach out to me, my email is brandon@bluecorona, BRANDON @bluecorona.com. And I want to thank everybody for their time today and enjoy the rest of your week. Thanks, everybody.